Girl, I feel like Anna Nicole Smith might be the coolest person we've ever covered on this podcast.
She was pretty great.
I had no idea. I was one of those idiots who believed all the hype about all the bad stuff.
Oh, really? I just remember Anna Nicole, she's so outrageous. I think that was like the beginning of her reality show.
Yes! Hi, Jillian Benzavalli.
Hi, Patrick Hines.
Hey, fam. If you're listening to this the day it comes out, let me tell you what we got coming up. Our very next live show on our summer spring tour where we're covering the Jinx, we're in Seattle Wednesday, August 9th, LA Friday, August 11th, then New York City with our Broadway dancers doing a whole big Broadway-style show August 26th, and then we're in Obsessed Fest in Dallas October 20th to the 22nd where we're doing the Jinx live there.
Oh, wow.
I know.
We got a lot going on.
And just like one little plug for my book party.
Yes.
London, I'm coming Friday, August 4th. Please come and see me.
That's in Soho, right?
It's a little club in Soho. It's like 150 seats. We're almost sold out.
Cute.
I really want you to come. I can't wait to do this across the pond. So that's
fun.
all.
That'll be fun.
And fam, come to Obsessed Fest. We've got like 50 podcasters coming, all your favorite true crime folks. We've got live shows and meet and greets and meetups and drag brunch and drag bingo. We're bringing the people from Guinness because we are breaking the Guinness Book of World Records
Again?
for the largest drag brunch. Last year was 900 people. This year it's even more than that. Like a weekend of making new friends and hanging out. We're doing the Garbage Ball on Saturday night after the TCO live show. It's a big dance party where all the talent is going to be there. All the listeners are going to be there.
Oh my God.
We're all going to dance and sing. You're doing your Taylor Swift sing-along during the weekend.
If people still want it, I'm doing it.
Oh my God, I'm so go to obsessedfest.com to get your tickets. Tickets are selling fast, but there's still some left.
Okay, fun.
Tell them what we're talking about today.
So this is like a 2020 news special. It's called Anna Nicole, Tragic Beauty. It's about Anna Nicole Smith.
A white female. She's not breathing and she's not responsive. She's actually Anna Nicole Smith.
This morning, tragic beauty.
Anna Nicole Smith died.
Anna Nicole Smith has died.
Anna, one more time.
She might have been one of the most famous faces in the world.
Shooting for Guess makes Anna Nicole Smith a star.
Ba, 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 boom. Wow.
She was ridiculed, but there's a whole story the public doesn't know.
People have a perception that she was this dumb blonde. She wasn't.
I'm fine, I'm well, I'm here.
Every single thing I touch has a story to it.
She snagged a very rich man who was near death.
One of the world's richest men.
Anna never gave about money. She loved Mr. Marshall tremendously.
He left her nothing. Zero.
So it begins at the end in September.
Well, it starts like 10 times, first of all.
2020 does this to us.
I know.
You know what I mean? You kind of never know where to start taking notes, so I just jump in.
I know, me
My
too.
fingers are... Sometimes I sit down, it's like 4 a.m. when I start these things, and I'm just raring to go. Just raring to go.
Okay, great.
I got my coffee. I've got one of those like self-heating mugs. It's like I look forward to it so much.
It's July. Why are you drinking hot things?
When I go to Dunkin', I still get a hot coffee no matter what the temp is
You're
outside.
out of your mind.
I know.
Also, if you like it, do it. I don't care.
Okay, great. So, fam, it's September 2006. We learned that Anna Nicole Smith had desperately wanted a little girl. She wanted a little girl to treat like a princess and give her everything she'd ever had. Danny Lynn is born, and that was like her dream. But we learned that 5 months later is when Anna Nicole Smith dies.
Yeah, Anna Nicole Smith did not have... She had a very hard life. It wasn't easy for her. A lot of people were just like giving her shit all the time. Like, I think she tried really hard to do what she wanted to do.
And what's so great about this episode of 2020, we really learn how she came from nothing.
She came from nothing.
And she built herself up. People think she just married that rich guy. That guy left her no fucking money.
Yeah.
Everything she had and everything she was self-made. Anna Nicole Smith made it all herself.
It's true.
So we jump to 2020. We meet Danny Lynn's dad, a guy named Larry.
Larry Burkhead. He was like famous.
Yeah, and he's great.
For
he,
this.
He looks like a famous country singer whose name I can't think of.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Nicole Kidman's husband.
He also has, who is that?
Keith Urban.
Sure.
Keith Urban, unless he's garbage, I can't remember.
I don't know. Come on, Tom. Come out of the closet. It's me, Nicole.
I mean, that poor woman.
But Larry's lower third is 2020 consultant.
Yes. He's getting paid for this. Good for you, Larry.
Yeah.
We meet Danny Lynn, who is the daughter, Anna Nicole's daughter.
Danny Lynn's a teenager now, and, she doesn't really know a ton of things about her mom. I thought, why not go back to Anna's beginnings and kind of see where Anna got her start? It's keeping her memory alive for my daughter.
I kind of can't take it because Danny Lynn is so sweet. She's like 13. She's so cute. You can see her mother in her.
Oh, you can, yeah.
But she like loves her dad and she's playful and like she's very, I hate to always like make this about me and my family, but Daisy is always asking about her birth mom.
Yeah.
And we have very limited information. We tell her everything we possibly can because Rosie O'Donnell told me to, so I do. And so like, I was like, I can't emotionally, like this little girl learning about her mother and like the tragic story. I'm very glad that we didn't have to watch that. We see Danny Lynn only a couple times and she seems fucking great.
Yeah.
But it broke my heart.
And 2020 seems pretty respectful of the fact that as a 13-year-old, maybe she doesn't love being on camera.
Yep.
And it feels like they're not trying to force her.
And she's got like braces. And,
I know, she's adorable.
She's so cute and sweet. But like someday, like she's going to learn about her mom. And I'm so glad that like 2020 is putting together this in such a respectful.
Like she'll have this to watch instead
almost
of
like
some salacious
way.
Yeah.
But you know, like we'll get there. But like having done the Whitney Houston documentary, it's just everybody around Anna Nicole Smith failed her.
Yes.
When you get so famous and you get so rich or whatever that like no one can say no to you, that is such a dangerous place to be.
And it was like better for some people to have her, quote, medicated. You know, we see this a lot.
Yes.
Same with Whitney, right? So we meet Joe McLemore,
Yeah.
who's Anna Nicole's BFF, and she tells us like the Anna Nicole backstory.
Yeah, because like she was Anna Nicole's BFF back when she was like a poor young country girl.
Back when she was Vicki Lynn Hogan, growing up in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, and like, you know, there comes a point in the story where like Anna Nicole doesn't see her anymore. And it feels like not out of any kind of like, I'm better than you. Just like their lives just go in different directions.
Yes.
But she's here and like she really, it's very important to Joe to tell Danny about her mom. And there's this beautiful moment in the parking lot where Danny Lynn and Joe meet for the first time.
Yeah. Hi, so good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, after all this time.
Oh my goodness. You are your mommy. You look just like her. When I first met her, that's exactly what I remember. Just like that. You're so beautiful.
And she's like, you look just like your mother did at that age. And then they show us a picture of Anna Nicole at that. It could be a picture of Danny Lynn.
Yeah. So Anna Nicole's mom was named Virgie.
I love that name.
And Virgie was 16 when she had Anna Nicole. Sometimes they call her Vicky. So if you hear someone saying Vicky, they're talking about Anna Nicole before she became how we know her.
Because like Anna Nicole's not her real name.
Right.
But her mom was 16 when she got married.
Yeah.
Married and gave birth to Vicky, who became Anna Nicole.
Her mother was a deputy sheriff.
Which surprised me because I imagine that she had a very hard Scrabble life and maybe her mom didn't work for whatever reason or whatever. No, her mom was like a deputy fucking sheriff.
Yeah.
And they say that she was really strict and stern and like, you know, you're a single mom raising like a young girl. I get it, Virgie. I get it.
Virgie.
I know. I love it.
You think it's short for Virginia?
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah. Virgie. I love
I'll
that
take
name.
Virgie.
I know.
Also, Deborah Roberts is here. She's our ABC News correspondent. Do you
Yes.
remember her from this influencer of Soho, the Anna Delvey? She was the one who sat down with Anna Delvey where she was like, will you fucking level with me? Are you kidding me?
Oh, yeah.
And Anna would be like, you just paw. Don't be so paw. That's Deborah Roberts.
I love her. We learned that like at a young age, Anna Nicole was sexually and physically abused.
Yes.
They don't tell us by who, but
Yeah.
that was a part of her story like in her young life.
And so Anna Nicole was sent to live with her aunt and her cousins in a, quote, small, dusty town named Mahia, Texas. But Anna Nicole hated it.
We had nothing in Mahia. We didn't have a bowling alley. We didn't have anything. What we did is, it was called the drag. And you go up and down the street and you drink beer and you talk to people and hang out the window, hello, and things like that. That was it.
They had what they called the drag, and I'm not like a cool, not the RuPaul kind.
Yeah, no.
It was like a strip of road where you would like drive up and down, and they say like hang out the window and wave at people.
Yeah, I'm sure there was some lip syncing for your life going on. However, in those parts.
This reminded me of like the spring break when I was in college and my best friend Eric and my sister and I drove down to Daytona, Florida to go to Daytona.
That's like the spring break place, right? That in like Cancun or something?
Awful.
Yeah.
We were in, so like on the
Were you
Daytona.
dragged kicking and screaming? I can't believe it.
Yes. Then. Yes, I was. But you drive up and down the beach. Like you just drive in a circle up and down the beach. And we had a game where I was trying to look really straight and scare people.
Oh.
Because I had facial hair.
And you were how old?
I was 20, I think.
Oh, wow.
And I had 2 pierced ears with hoop earrings. I don't think I pulled it off.
Incredible.
You know what I mean?
No.
I don't think I pulled it off.
Everyone was like, what's that gay guy doing cruising out here?
What's that very unscary gay guy doing? Why is he making that face?
What is that super approachable, not at all intimidating gay guy doing cruising? This is the straight area. This is the straight area. Excuse me, Mr. Gay Person.
Yeah.
You're a couple blocks over, sweetie.
Oh my God. We see Aunt Kay's house, like where Anna lived during that time.
Yeah.
It's abandoned now, but they say it was a 2-bedroom, but we turned the porch into a 3rd bedroom. One of these kids literally lived on the porch.
Yeah, I hope it was screened in.
I hope the bugs in Texas.
I was going to say, those.
You know what I mean?
They have things like more than mosquitoes, right?
I mean, are you kidding me?
That's like, I don't know.
They have bugs the
I've never
size
been
of your
there.
fucking face.
That's like South Carolina. They call it the palmetto. They're like palmetto bugs, the flying cockroaches.
Nope.
They're all in our mouths. Sorry, they're in all of our mouths now. Anna Nicole dropped out of high school. I know.
Sometimes you say it, and I'm able to ignore it. That time I wasn't.
That was a little bit of a delayed reaction.
I felt the bug in my mouth.
You know why? I'm going to be really honest with you. Misery loves company. So if I feel it, I have to say it out loud so I'm not alone.
Oh.
I'm sorry, everybody.
You know, her best friend Jo says
she moved hoping for, a better environment for herself. And at that point, we invited her to come live with us.
Jo's family invited her. Probably Anna was the one living on the porch. So they invited, Jo's family invited her to come live with them. And I just kept saying over and over, like, Aunt Kathy, best friend Jo's family, God fucking love the people who take care of other people.
It's true.
You know?
And so Jo also, it's sort of like, Anna Nicole, this is your life. We're going to all of her favorite haunts, I guess.
Yeah.
And Jo takes us to Crispy's, which is the fried chicken joint they worked at together.
I mean, I just wrote, like, this is so Americana, I cannot fucking stand it. Like, in the best way possible.
Crispy's.
It's like, Crispy's, the fried chicken joint. It's like in the one streetlight town. There's one restaurant, whatever. And like you can just see gorgeous Anna Nicole at 17 years old. I mean, just like sitting there like hoping for a better life, which she totally gets. You know?
So
did you like hoping for a better life?
I like the hands. Oh, cute.
Oh, I'm sweet.
You are sweet.
I'm what's the word? Terminally approachable.
That's so true.
Terminally approachable.
I love that.
Thank you.
That's really sweet. I love it. Anna Nicole marries the guy who works the fryer. His name is Billy Smith. They were 16 and 17 years old.
So they were 16 and 17 years old. They start dating, and then all of a sudden they're getting married. And once again, I say, who is letting a 16 and 17-year-old get fucking married?
I don't know.
This isn't the 1940s. This was like the 80s. But then we hear the saddest thing you're going to hear all week.
Oh my God.
Anna Nicole has her son when she's 18, and she says,
I thought to myself, I'm so lonely. And I thought, well, if I have a baby, I'll never be lonely again. And I have my son, and I'm not lonely, and I love him, and he's great and wonderful.
So I had my son, and I'm not lonely anymore.
That is heartbreaking.
And it's like she's a cool person, but that is also a really fucked up thing to put on your kid.
Yes.
Like, don't have a kid to be your friend.
Right, because it's just
Which is what my older sister will tell you my mother did with all 4 of us.
Oh, God.
Yeah, my sister and my mom have some issues.
Yeah. But that also, then that's the whole dynamic in the relationship.
Yes.
And then anything that, I'm not putting this on anyone, but it could possibly be where then that becomes resentment because the kid just wants to be a kid and not my mom's friend.
Of
and
course.
What?
And then you're drinking together. We've all seen My So-Called Life. We know what happens.
Come on.
You know what I mean?
Rainy.
So in 1986, Vicky, a.k.a. Anna Nicole, leaves Billy, moves back to Houston to live with her mom, Virgie.
But now we hear about how wild Houston, Texas was back in the 80s.
I just wrote, coming out of this commercial, we hear that Houston was either the most amazing place to live in or the dirtiest. They used the word tawdry.
It was a place to make bad decisions and not really be held accountable. Strip clubs were invented there. Breast implants were developed there.
People were always making themselves up there, we're told.
So Anna Nicole needs money. All of her jobs weren't paying enough.
Yes.
So she decides to get a job at a strip club. Great.
Because she's thinking it's the quickest way to make money. She's got to support her
cash.
kid. But this is the beginning of us seeing her real entrepreneurial spirit. She's got to make money. She's got to make money for her kid. She tried working at Walmart. It doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah.
And Anna Nicole also never was I'm so gorgeous. I'm going to take these men for all they're worth. She's sort of will they like me?
Well, she was really self-conscious and terrified at first.
The day that I went on to dance the first time, I ran out because I was so horrified and so ashamed of myself. But when I was driving to work, I looked down and saw all this money and I was like, wow. And it was $50. Whoa, $50. And back then, that was a lot of money for me.
She was like, shit, I'm making good money. I want to move past this and do it.
What's so great, too, is they have archival interviews with Anna Nicole on various TV shows. She's so I got the job, didn't realize it was topless till I got there.
Just thought she was like dancing in sexy clothes, which like sometimes that's part of it.
But I also love that the topless part was not a deal breaker for her. She's like, whatever, I'm going to show my tits.
It was just something for her to get past.
Yes.
I'd be self-conscious, girl. I get it.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If I'm not wearing 15 layers walking down the street in New York City, I'm self-conscious.
How you doing on July 5th? It's 98 degrees.
I don't want to make my body anybody else's problem.
Hey! Don't say that about my friend Patrick.
Thank you. I have a winning personality, and I'm terminally approachable, as we've discovered.
Yes. But terminally makes it sound like you're dying.
No, I just mean like I'll probably get killed that way. You know
what I just say? Sounds like you're dying.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
Well, don't do that.
Okay.
We have to change. That was like cute until it wasn't. We also meet Jamie Floyd, who's an ABC legal analyst.
Yeah.
And he says, and I quote, I'm a criminal defense attorney. I've represented my share of strippers. Jamie?
So Anna is living with her friend Melissa. Her son is living with her mom, and she wants her son to move in with her because her biggest fear is that like her son Daniel is going to forget about her.
Right.
Remember, she's doing all of this. She's doing the topless dancing and all of this only to make enough money to take care of her kid.
And we learned that, like most dancers or performers develop a persona. So it makes it a little maybe easier or more fun or whatever to be on stage. And she did the baby voice thing.
She does the baby voice thing, and she also says, I'm going to be the sexiest woman in here because I need to take care of my son. And they say she pulled that off very quickly.
Yeah.
She like just turned it on. Like Anna Nicole, in any environment, she was going to thrive. She was going to figure out how to use what God gave her, including her brains, to make it happen. She was just out, which is why like the Anna Nicole that we know, we think of that like that VMA thing or whatever. Or like we think of her like kind of like slurring her words in interviews because she was highly medicated.
Yeah, she was,
We didn't know anything about this brilliant hard worker who started out here.
They're assessing the room. They're looking for the guy who has an ability to spend. Then they have to figure out, well, which role does he want me to play?
Anna developed a baby's voice when she talked to guys, and she would get in that mode, and they would just break down. They would eat that up.
The baby voice is a little bit of a misnomer because she's probably like, oh, like, what can I get for you? Just that very sort of like submissive, appeasing.
Like the 1950s stewardess in a movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I love that like she's dancing. She's gotten the breast implants, by the way, so her boobs are everywhere.
Yeah, well, and that means she's making money.
She's making money. I said we see the stage where she was dancing. Literal buckets of cash.
Buckets
of cash.
Well, speaking of buckets of cash, it's 1991. She's been dancing for 4 years. J. Howard Marshall walks into her life.
No, excuse me. He certainly does not. He is wheeled into her life.
He's wheeled in.
They say it, and that is not a joke against like people in wheelchairs at all. They describe him as being wheeled everywhere he goes.
Well, he's an 87-year-old billionaire.
Yes.
So just a little detour. He made his billions with the Koch brothers.
I know.
The Koch brothers are not good guys. It's not spelled like the amazing soft drink.
No, it's K-O-C-H. They know that.
They're not good guys.
They also say that he's Yale educated. He worked in the Roosevelt administration. I was like, isn't that from the 1820s?
Like, how old is this guy?
Was that like before electricity? Wasn't Roosevelt literally in Newsies?
Yes. But in 1991, this guy, J. Howard Marshall, is in a relationship with, quote, Lady Walker, who they describe as a flamboyant stripper.
He was because he was married to he had a wife who he loved, that he'd been married to for decades, who was suffering with Alzheimer's. And he was like stayed with his wife, but was in this like 10-year-long relationship with this, quote, flamboyant stripper. And like he's spending millions and millions of dollars on her, buying her coats, buying her furs, buying her fucking houses, but they never have sex because they both think it would be wrong.
Right. But he's like a sugar daddy.
Yes, of
Can
course.
we say that?
Yes,
Is that allowed? Okay.
I mean.
But he felt like her protector. It was just this dynamic, like the old rich guy and the young fun woman, and he was paying for everything, and it was like a mutually beneficial relationship.
Totally. And like they're writing each other love notes, and he's writing her checks with the love. If they're both consenting, I don't know. Like anyway, what was her name? Lady what?
Lady Walker.
She was beautiful. I loved her. She had great style.
But then like tragedy strikes because this guy loses his wife, and then Lady Walker. He loved both of them.
Yes.
So the relationship is very devoted, but Lady Walker suddenly dies.
Here was Marshall. He'd lost his wife, who he really did love, to Alzheimer's. He'd lost his paramour, who I think he really did love, who died on the operating table getting a facelift.
She dies on the operating table during a facelift.
But the person who says this rolls her eyes in a really rude way.
I know.
But it reminded me of Clueless.
Oh,
that's how Cher's mom died, a fluke accident during a routine liposuction. Isn't she a Betty?
Oh my God.
And that was like the joke in Clueless.
But I mean, like, isn't that how Joan Rivers died?
I don't know how Joan Rivers died.
Like
you might
on
be
the
absolutely
operating
right.
table getting a
Is that
facelift.
right?
Is that even a way that people can die?
Like, how bad are you fucking it up? I hope something
Exactly.
happened to that. Like, that's not right.
I know.
Like, what?
I
How does that
know.
even? I don't know. I don't know anything about that. But this guy is heartbroken.
Yes.
And he goes to the strip club, and
Excuse you, he's wheeled into Gigi's one day. And then I'm just saying it because I think it's kind of adorable. Like, he's like this old, like, I know everyone wants us to think the relationship between him and Anna is creepy. I don't.
Uh-huh. It's, well...
I don't think it's creepy.
It's just... Okay, so he meets
Sam,
Anna.
I know you're all like, I should have told you to pull over. I'm sorry. You'll understand why in a minute.
I'm not saying it's I don't know. Hold on a second. Because there's this interview with Anna Nicole where she's like, he's so smart. He's so funny. He has the best stories. And I'm like, you know that's what that scene in Best in Show is based on, right?
No.
Where she's like, we could talk and not talk, still find things to not talk about.
Tom, to our amazing mixer editor, Tom, will you play them side by side? Okay, here is Anna Nicole.
He was very funny, really funny. He got very brilliant, very smart. Gosh.
And now here's Best in Show.
Yeah, we both have so much in common. We both love soup, and we love snow peas, and talking and not talking. We could not talk or talk forever and still find things to not talk about.
I'm not crazy.
I know.
I'm not crazy.
I know. No, but the whole thing is as a dancer, she works the room to find the richest guy, and she does, and she can tell that her presence brings a twinkle to his eye.
Yeah, I think once again we have a mutually beneficial relationship on our hands here.
Yes, and they say that she always saw him as a surrogate grandfather. She didn't have a dad, and
her sugar burger.
Yeah, her sugar burger. It's literally what she'd
call him, sugar burger. Sugar burger. That's really hard to say.
Yes.
And sweetheart.
Well, this guy Marshall has two sons. They are not excited about this.
Oh my God. Pierce. Pierce is the old guy's favorite son, and he's a real fucking stick in the mud, this guy. This guy, you know who needs a night out at the strip club?
I know.
Pierce Marshall. Lighten up.
I know.
And I think lighten up because we're talking about billions of dollars.
Well, what makes me so mad is Pierce, it's not your fucking money. When kids are spending their parents' money before the parents die and are trying to tell the parents what to do with it, it makes me crazy.
Yeah, they didn't earn it.
No.
They earned it as much as she did, basically. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly.
So Marshall proposes to Anna Nicole, or she was still Vicky then, a week into meeting.
Everyone pay attention to this because
huge.
this is new information. Anna, who could have married the billionaire right then and there and never lifted a finger for the rest of her life.
She says no because she's determined to make something of herself on her own.
So what J. Howard Marshall doesn't know is that Vicky is in love with someone else. And in this case, it's a woman.
Anna Nicole Smith was openly bisexual or pansexual.
Oh my God.
Because she's in love with a woman named Sandy.
And we see pictures of Sandy, and Sandy
looks like a Terry.
I mean, Sandy looks exactly like all of my mom's bus driving lesbian friends, and my mom has 7 of them.
We say that with love.
That is the only. I only know how to speak about lesbians respectfully.
I know.
I only know how to. And what's so amazing about this is Anna Nicole is the bombshell. And Sandy is just a regular person like the rest of us. And it's they were so in love.
And Anna Nicole could have married the billionaire.
Yes.
But stayed in it for love with Sandy, who she works at a florist or a greenhouse or someplace that sells garden supplies.
I mean, she probably works at the garden section of a Walmart.
I mean,
you
probably.
Know what I mean?
But they were in love. They were living together. They were going to get married. Anna Nicole courted Sandy. She showed up to her house in a big white limo.
With roses. It's incredible.
The thing
in Texas in the 80s.
The thing about Anna Nicole that I think gets lost is that she was exactly who she was. She was dating who she was into. She was eating whatever she wanted. She was drinking whatever she wanted. And that will come to play, the fact that she wasn't a size negative, basically. That is because of the time it was in the 90s. But that is kind of amazing. And that gets lost that she was just I like you. I'm going to date. It didn't matter to her.
100%.
I loved that.
But she also had other girlfriends and a bunch of boyfriends. Somebody says
she seems to be a woman of considerable appetites. She likes a lot of input. She eats and drinks freely. She seems to take on a fair amount of lovers. Thanks to her time with J. Howard Marshall II, she develops a new appetite for extremely expensive jewelry.
this Marshall guy is buying her things.
Yes.
Cars and jewelry and houses and horses. So she's saying
A
no.
Mercedes convertible?
Yes. Like Barbie.
Marshall, I'm available.
Marshall. But also, if we don't have to have sex, like...
I mean, honestly.
And also, I don't drive, so I guess Marshall and I wouldn't get along very well.
I know that we are very much in an eat the rich moment. I get it. I hear it. I feel it too. But like, if he's got, like, if we haven't eaten this billionaire and he just wants to spend his money on Anna to, like, it makes him feel good to buy her things, who cares?
It's just a dynamic that...
Also, cure cancer, Marshall. Like, I mean, I'm there too.
I'll just never know what that's like.
I know. But, like, neither will anybody.
Like,
you know what I mean?
But he also takes her to his favorite restaurant, Red Lobster, and proposes once again over the salad bar or whatever.
I know.
And I love that. Like, we always say, love what you love, billionaire or not. He's going to Red Lobster because he loved it, and who cares?
I just think, like, this lady stops to say he is a billionaire.
Yeah. Once again, billion with a B.
His favorite restaurant is Red Lobster.
Good for him.
I mean, the lobster bisque is something else.
I haven't been to a Red Lobster in so long.
Steve and I went to a Red Lobster like one of our first dates.
Really?
Yeah, just because like we
the
wanted,
one here?
Yeah, the one in Times Square.
That I think was turned into a Bubba Gump.
Is that right?
I believe. But to be clear, so he keeps proposing to her. She keeps saying no. He keeps buying her things. She is accepting the things.
Yes.
But she does keep saying, like, I'm not going to marry him or anyone until I, like, make it on my own. She doesn't want it. She doesn't want it to be a free ride. She doesn't want it to be perceived as that. But she also just doesn't want it to be that.
100%.
She's worked too hard.
One of her boyfriends, one of her other boyfriends at the time we learn is like taking pictures of her and he sends them to a
like sexy photos.
I mean, what other kind of pictures would you take of her?
Yeah, even in a t-shirt.
You know what?
And
Put
jeans.
on, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
She's hot, no matter what.
But he sends them to a photographer friend who shoots for Playboy, and the photographer's here, and he says
she came in. I was quite taken. She looked like an Amazon woman to me. Very, very tall, 5'11". Wore 5-inch heels, a spandex dress, this god-awful blue eyeshadow. But underneath all of that, you saw the pretty face. She walked a little clumsy. She walked like a duck. But Anna Nicole Smith was the sweetest girl you would ever want to meet. I mean, you would want her as a sister.
But you could see under all of that was this like gorgeous, vivacious, va-va-va-voom, Patrick Hines of a woman.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Va-va-va-voom. This is in 1992. So March of 1992, she's on the cover of Playboy.
Well, because this photographer sends the photos to Playboy. Playboy calls the next day.
Like, she wasn't even famous.
Exactly.
She was just like the girl who worked at Crispy's.
Yes.
And then, you know what I'm saying? Which I think is sort of the Playboy thing. They love all of that
sure,
stuff.
but I mean, it's like so legit. You know what I mean?
It's
like
a gorgeous photo. Look
100%.
at it.
Yeah.
It's so pretty.
I know. She's so
And
hot.
she looks like really like regal, and they're already doing the Marilyn Monroe thing. We'll get into it. But like this changed her life.
And because she's not just in the magazine, she's on the cover.
She's
like,
on the cover.
Wild.
So the guy who runs Guess Jeans,
Paul Marcino,
calls her, sees her, calls her, and he was like, I need her to wear my jeans. So this is when she immediately changes. Like, she knows, like, this is it. Something is happening. Now she's officially Anna Nicole Smith.
Yes. And she tells the story about, like, walking in to, like, meet him and just, like, dress like herself. And he's like, She's like, I didn't think you really liked me. And then she's like, let me go get dolled up. She, like, goes out for an hour, gets the hair and the makeup and the clothes, and she comes back and she just makes his face. She goes, his mouth just fell open and he had no words.
Wow.
I
Which
know.
is great. Like, she looks great all dolled up. But, like, please don't say that about women who are just, like, coming in for a meeting and they're not va-va-voomed enough. Like, she's still stunning.
Yes.
Everyone's still fucking stunning. I don't want to hear it. If you're not wearing makeup, you're stunning. And if you're wearing a lot of makeup, I don't want to hear that you're wearing too much makeup. Let them wear whatever they want. It's not for you, Judgy McJudgerson.
I couldn't agree more.
No one is wearing or not wearing things. We can talk and not talk for hours and still find things to not talk about.
I have told the story more than once that, like, I can be at my biggest or whatever, and I still always have that moment where I, like, before I leave the house, I look in the mirror and I go, fuck, you're handsome.
That's right.
Every time.
I fucking love that.
Every time I leave the house, I look in the mirror and I go, God damn, are you better looking today than you were yesterday, you fucking bastard?
Hell fucking
I
yeah. Can you bottle that and give me some of it?
I will. I wish
it.
I could. God damn it.
I love that. Oh my God, I fucking love that. But the reason Anna Nicole Smith being so famous so quickly was so important is because, like, at the time in 1992 and 1993.
When Anna Nicole Smith first sort of burst on the scene, she didn't look like any model anyone had seen for a long time. She was curvy. She was voluptuous. At a time when models were very, very thin.
The aesthetic was very skinny and not curvy. And she was like a true Jane Mansfield, Marilyn Monroe. Also, speaking of Jane Mansfield,
I know.
You know who her daughter is?
Do I know who
President
her daughter is?
Mariska Hargitay.
Also, Margaret Cho is here to go on.
She's here to explain all of this.
But also, we're going to learn at the end that Margaret Cho loved Anna Nicole Smith so much that she wrote a song for her.
I love it. I love it. But Margaret Cho is here to say, like, the look of the early 90s supermodels was completely unattainable. So she says this thing where she would like look at herself and say, like, am I even a person?
Yes.
And so here comes Anna Nicole, who is also like just objectively stunning, but the body type was like, that wasn't on a billboard ever. Like in the cover of magazines and these like pinups and all this stuff. And it was for women at the time who were just like, well, I'm not going to be Kate Moss size.
Of course.
Because that's Kate Moss's body. It's nobody else's.
Like, you're born in that body. Like that's the only way to get that body.
Some people just can't do that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But to see something else was very refreshing for a lot of people.
But she gets this huge guest campaign. It makes her internationally famous. Playboy keeps putting her on the cover. They name her Playmate of the fucking year.
Back to that billboard.
Yeah.
It's an actual threat to public safety because she's stopping traffic. She's causing accidents.
It got to the point where the parliament in Norway actually had a debate as to whether the billboards featuring Anna Nicole Smith should be taken down because they represented a threat to public safety.
Governments are having official meetings with like minutes and things on the books about how sexy these billboards are. People are getting into car accidents because they cannot take their eyes off of her.
Would that happen if we put up a TCO billboard in Norway? Do you think?
If it's only of you, yes.
Are you even handsomer than you were yesterday, you bastard?
Fucking damn it.
How did you do that?
Oh my God, I love that. I know. So she's signed by William Morris. She's in Hollywood. She's getting these small roles, the va-va-voom factor.
She gets cast in the Hudsucker Proxy? Come on.
Yeah, she's like the gorgeous bombshell character.
Yeah. She's on Arsenio Hall, and I actually loved Arsenio Hall, but he makes her say, because she's in Hudsucker, the Hudsucker Proxy, he makes her say it again. He's like, I just like hearing you say Hudsucker.
Ugh.
Look, Arsenio, gross.
But that was like the role she was playing. Like that, and that was the persona that was sort of like thrust onto her.
Can we give Arsenio Hall, unless he's garbage, I don't know, I haven't checked today, can we give him another show? I loved him.
What about my late night show?
Sorry, you're canceled in the name of Arsenio.
Well, you know what? It was only a matter of time.
Anna Nicole is in Naked Gun 33 1/3.
That was like the only movie I knew that she was in.
Yes.
I was like, wasn't she in that spoofy movie?
The Naked Gun movies were great. O.J. Simpson is in them, so now you can't really watch them.
He was in all of them? How many were there?
Yeah, he was Nordberg. I think he was in all 3.
He was what?
Nordberg.
You know his character's name?
I love Priscilla Presley was in them too.
So, yeah.
Like, come on.
And
Leslie Nielsen, who played Lucas in the final 2 episodes of The Golden Girls, and married Dorothy.
Well, yes, that part I know.
Okay.
God, I'm not a total monster. I know my late night show that never happened just got canceled.
I know, sorry.
Sorry.
Oof, 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 oof. I'm doing the Arsenio arm.
Wasn't that like a woof though?
Oh,
Wasn't
you're
that
right.
A bark?
Woof, woof. Oh,
You're
right.
saying oof? Like oof Maron?
Oh my God.
Anna Nicole Smith, even though she's like her star is rising and rising, she's in a lot of pain.
Well, she's in pain from the implants.
Right.
Like sorry,
back,
were you going to say that?
Literally what I was just going to
say. Sorry. Ever since your late night show got canceled, you've been real hard to work with.
Real.
So.
I'm a real word I'm not allowed to say. You can think of it. A-B-C-U.
Yep.
There. So Anna Nicole is in a lot of pain because her back is killing her from her breast implants. And it's just causing a lot of physical pain. Like she has migraines. She's on a ton of pain meds.
And this was like the 90s before when we thought you could solve every problem by just overprescribing pain meds.
And like she overdoses, right? And then she does this interview in 1994 and she's saying things that like in the 2023 lens.
Yes.
She's saying things like, yes, I take Vicodin and Xanax, but those aren't drugs.
I
take them for my migraines and insomnia. They're not hard drugs. I'm not high. And it's like, she's just taking a lot of opioids and no one knows that yet.
It's wild because
it's so sad.
Those of us who were like casual observers of her, like me back in the day, you would only ever see her when she's like slurring her words, but she's only slurring her words because she's on all these. We also will learn later, like she has friends who are doctors who will prescribe her anything.
Oh, that friend.
I know.
Not
but
a
like
friend.
Anna Nicole, she believed that she didn't do drugs and she was just doing prescription drugs, just trying to get through the fucking day.
And also like this whole persona and the va-va-voom is what made her famous and successful.
Yes.
So what is she going to do? Take the implants out?
Yes.
Like in her mind,
I know.
she's successful now. Like she made it. She did what she wanted to do.
Her breasts are really, really big.
They're really big.
I cannot imagine how you carry that around all day.
I don't know. so like she's being asked about her drug use a lot or the pills a lot. And like she and others are making the Marilyn Monroe connection because she loves her and she wants to emulate her.
I mean, can we talk about the fact that that billionaire Jay Marshall rents Marilyn Monroe's old home for Anna Nicole Smith? We see Anna Nicole lounging in Marilyn Monroe's window. I could have watched that footage all day long.
And she says, she goes, you know, she feels a very strong bond with Marilyn.
Oh no, I used to wish she was my mom.
Yeah?
I want to be the sex symbol. I want to be what she was. I want to do the movies she did. I want to sing. I want to dance. I want to do all that.
She said, I used to wish she was my mom.
Yes.
There are photos of Marilyn all over the house. And like when you picture Anna Nicole, how do you see her? With the Marilyn hair, the blonde.
100%.
And like even, you know, like her cover of Playboy was very much like 40s, 50s, like that kind of look.
That white dress with like the empire waist or whatever.
Yeah,
Did I say that
it was
right?
a blue dress, but yeah, sure.
Okay, great.
I don't know. What's an empire waist? That's the one that goes
I don't
here?
know. I think it's where like it's under your boobs. I'm making it all up at this point.
Sure. Should I know what that
I
is?
am not going to win Project Runway.
No.
If that happens.
Oh, we'll talk about Project Runway
Don't
later.
even get me started. I screamed at that detail.
But do you know what episode it was?
No. Oh my God.
I Googled what episode it was and I was like, it's huge. Anyway, we're talking about Who Killed Robert Wand on the Patreon. And there's like a whole Project Runway thing that they zoom right by, but I am stopping on it for 15 minutes.
So finally, after 4 years of turning him down, she decides to marry J. Howard Marshall. Now, she fucking did it. She said, I'm not going to marry you until I've made it on my own. She did it. She made it on her own, and now she marries him. She didn't marry him. Well, I'm not going to say she didn't marry him for his money. But like, I am going to say that like she like didn't only marry him for his money, and she had her own money.
She had her own money. She was doing her own thing, and like he didn't make a phone call and help her get the gig.
Exactly.
Like it happened
She
very
did it
organically.
all on
right?
her own, yeah.
She's 26, he's 89, and he's worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
I gotta tell you, I will tell you this right now. If Steve died and some 89-year-old billionaire wanted to marry me, I would fucking do it.
Yeah.
I would do it if it's securing my future and Daisy's future, and I like the guy.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I don't know. As long
What
as
is
you both
wrong
like
with that?
Soup and snow peas and
Yes.
talking and not talking. Okay, so here's what happened. So the kids, I mean, they're adults, but his children are like hiring PIs to see if their father was changing the will because they didn't want any, Anna Nicole to just like get all the business or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's July 1995. We just get to this point very quickly.
Yes.
Marshall is dying in the hospital, or not, because he was 90 when they met. So it's not like.
Right. But it is very sad. He's at the end of his life.
Yeah. And his favorite son,
Pierce,
the big stick in the mud, has his power of attorney. So he's his caretaker and his guardian, and he has all the power here.
And so he makes it so that the billionaire's caregiver, a woman named Betty Morgan, is his guardian. Now, I have my mother's power of attorney. I don't know that if my mom's wife was still alive, that I could legally keep her out of the hospital room, because that's what starts to happen to Anna Nicole. She's like given certain hours that she's allowed to be there.
And they had armed security guards just standing by the door. And when your husband's got his arms out going like this, lady, love, please don't leave me. And I'm leaving him, and he's like thinking in his head, where's my wife going?
There are armed guards at the door.
I don't understand. Like, if they're legally married, I guess I should investigate what power of attorney actually means.
Well, I think power of attorney can make those. I think that's the thing.
That's
Again,
the whole point
I don't know that. So,
Yeah.
but I think there's part of it. Like he just made it so that on paper she has no say,
Right.
And that he could put armed guards outside the
I mean,
door.
it's so tragic because, if you think back to the Patient Zero episode, like this is what it was like for people dying of AIDS in the 80s.
Just like be a human for a second.
I know.
Like someone is going through this too, Pierce.
And he loves her whether you like it or not.
Right.
And you know what? They're married, Pierce, so whether she gets to hold his hand, and it's not going to change what's going to
It's
happen
done.
with the money.
And no one should have hundreds of millions of dollars. What
Yes.
does it matter?
Yes.
Give her a nice lump sum and shut up, and you'll never have to talk to her again.
And once again, we are rightfully in an eat the rich moment. I'm not trying to feel bad for a billionaire, but we're just dealing with the facts that we have. It's 1991.
No
or
one
whatever.
should have that much money.
I know.
So what I'm saying to the sons is it's insane that giving her $150 million is like a little chip off the old block or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Give it to her. And if you hate her so much, good news, you never have to talk
See
to
her
her
again.
again.
100%.
Pay her to go away.
Yep.
And then I'd still be like, that's a whole fucking ton of money for
Yes.
one person to have.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you get the most of it. Just people just want to fight. Like they want to be like, we won and she got nothing. Like she can't have anything in their mind. So J. Howard Marshall dies 14 months after the wedding, and that's when the legal battles start.
Yes.
They're going to court over, like fighting over cremation versus burial, and it's like, oh, these guys are just going to fight for the sake of fighting. They don't want her to get anything.
Wears her wedding dress to the funeral. Like, oh my God.
So this guy, J. Howard Marshall, was worth $1.5 billion. Anna Nicole was not in his will. Her son was not in his will, and she got absolutely nothing.
Wait, the son wasn't in the will either?
Her son wasn't in the will.
I mean, this is curious to me that Anna wasn't in the will. Like, were you going to get to that?
After all this time, after 4 years.
But also, again, maybe he's like, remember that time I bought you Marilyn Monroe's house? Like, maybe he thought that he'd given her enough.
Yeah, or maybe he trusted his sons to do the right thing. Yeah. Always get it in writing. Don't trust anybody.
Wait, somebody reads one of Anna's journal entries.
In this journal entry, Anna writes, "Me and Daniel have no money to live on because of the press and getting no work. I miss my husband. He would just kill Pierce if he knew what was going on."
She went from living with her billionaire husband to being broke. She can't get any work.
Yeah, she's dropped by her agents.
Yes, and I mean, fucking William Morris, like, Jesus Christ.
I know.
And like,
I know.
She, because of all the media attention, nobody wants to hire her. It's terrible.
And like, she's also not doing well medically. So now she's taking methadone and Klonopin. She's taking a lot of opioids. She overdoses again. She goes into a coma. She eventually files for bankruptcy. And in the middle of all of this, like, it can't get any worse for Anna Nicole Smith. In the middle of it, she realizes that her husband's son and his lawyers have been playing dirty the whole time.
Yes.
And they were like conspiring to cheat her out of a portion of the inheritance. And a judge agrees. So she's awarded like $450 million.
So this like hero California federal bankruptcy judge is like, bitch, pay her.
Guess what? Bad news, everybody. The next year, it's 2001. We're in Houston, Texas. She's in court over the money again because she was awarded the $450 million in California.
Right.
And now the family's trying to take it away from her.
In Texas.
Which is crazy how that can happen.
And I know that it wasn't $450 million, but what are the legal fees here? Just give her the money.
I know. No one should have that much money. It's crazy. Nobody should have that much money. But Rusty Hardin is the favorite son's lawyer.
Yeah.
And he's tough as nails. And he loves a little bit of theater because he wants to make sure that no one feels bad for her.
Yes.
And so Anna Nicole Smith is on the stand. Neither of them are holding back.
Before we get into the Rusty situation, I thought this was going to go in her way. I really thought it was going to go her way. She comes into court. They say like the jury was hers to lose, and she comes in. She also looks out of time. Like she looks like a 50s pinup model. She's like
a little cardigan on.
Yeah, she looks really cute. But then Rusty really goes to town
because he's good at exploiting weakness, which is like what a lot of lawyers do. But Anna Nicole keeps saying that she's bad with dates.
Yes.
So she doesn't want to get into trouble, right? She wants to do it right, but she's being very honest and vocal about how she needs to see that paper again.
Yeah.
She doesn't know the date. She doesn't know if it was before May 1st or after May 1st, and what the fuck does it matter?
Well, and they're saying like the strategy of a good lawyer, quote unquote, is to like get them flustered and riled up.
He wants to get her frustrated. So if she doesn't know dates, he's going to ask her about dates over and over again.
Well, ma'am, that was in September, wasn't it?
I don't know the dates, Rusty.
Isn't it true that you don't even know when you last saw your husband before he died?
Yes, Rusty, I am bad with dates.
And she keeps saying she doesn't know.
And she's calling him by his first name.
Which I love. She goes, I don't know the dates, Rusty. And she also has like a fast food soda, like a fountain soda.
Like, of course. It's like a bucket of Diet Coke.
And now things are starting to crumble because Rusty goes, are you telling me that you don't even remember how you got to Houston to see your husband? And she goes, Rusty, on an airplane. And the way she and you can feel the like, Rusty, what the fuck? Like you can feel her frustration, but like that's also like, how do you think she got there, Rusty?
I know.
Like Rusty on an airplane.
On an airplane.
I loved it.
This Rusty guy had one job, which was to make the jury not like her.
And then he asks her, he's like, what have you been taking acting lessons?
Because she's crying.
And she goes, screw you, Rusty. And like he won, and he was just preying on her, which is like what lawyers do.
Where are the people protecting her? Like,
I don't know.
Where is her legal team? You know what I mean?
She was on the stand for 5 days. It was clear she was not properly prepped.
Yes.
And Rusty was out of line. She wasn't prepped. No one objected. And like bada bing, bada boom, like now she looks like an idiot, and she's not.
And like I gotta say, the billionaire could have like circumvented all of this by just putting her in the fucking will.
And I don't know what Rusty did to make the jury decide that she gets zero.
Nothing.
Not even a nickel for the subway, as they say in Annie. You ain't getting 88 cents from me, Rose. But like,
That was my line in Gypsy, by the way. I have it on video.
You're the dad.
Next book party, I'm showing it. Can get a thrill.
But not even like a million. Not
Did
even.
you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I wish I could be. I can fly higher than an eagle.
You are the wind
beneath my wings.
Yeah, so she wasn't awarded anything.
Yeah.
It went from 0 to nothing to nothing to, and it was like,
It went from 420 million to nothing to nothing to nothing.
nothing.
But then, of course, like it's tied up in appeals and appeals and appeals. So, like, she's lost this round, but the fight isn't over.
Right.
Which is why people continue to flock to her, and we'll get to it later. But like, there's a potential payday, and that's what all of these fucking vultures see about her.
Well, it's 2001, and she's offered a reality show.
The Anna Nicole show. I remember this show, but I never watched it.
I just remember she's so outrageous.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, is that even what I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
But like again, reality shows were very new at the time.
But
we go
they
through
were
this again.
They were new, but they were like what was on was working. So it was like the Osbournes. I mean, people don't even remember the Osbournes anymore.
Yeah.
They were the Kardashians before the Kardashians.
Yeah.
You know?
mean, it was wild. They're also just like insane to watch on television.
Exactly.
Like, they're
Because
just
they gave you full unfettered access. It was this thing with the Newlyweds with Nick Lachey and Jessica Simpson.
Yeah.
Like they would follow them anywhere, and that had never happened before.
And like poor Ozzy was just always like shuffling, and he's like, "Are you mad at me too, Jack?" And then Sharon would be like, "Oh, Minnie, you took a shit on the carpet." And then like they'd all be fighting. They were cursing a lot. It was just kind of like, what is this? The Anna Nicole show was bonkers. Like lots of drinking, lots of sex, lots of chaos.
Was there lots of drinking?
It was just like they were just all fucked up all the time.
Yeah.
And you got the sense where it was just kind of messy and like the lighting never, I don't know.
And I don't really get it because they say like the first season was bananas for ratings, and then like the second season it just tanked and then it gets canceled. Like what happened?
Yeah, they never made a season 3, and then Anna Nicole disappears, and when she comes back into the limelight, she's a spokesperson for Trim Spa, which was a diet pill that was like super famous.
Are you telling me this like I don't know? Like Trim Spa, I never took Trim Spa, but like it was one of those like insane, it was like speed.
Yeah.
You would take speed to like suppress your appetite, and then like it would like make you crazy. And I like every friend I had was on Trim Spa.
Well, Anna Nicole lost 69 pounds.
I know, she looks amazing.
But she looks like not well. She doesn't look healthy.
It's like the beginning of the end. Like this is kind of the beginning of the end for her.
And this is where she meets Larry Burkhead, who we met at the beginning, who's a photographer. They met at the Kentucky Derby, and there's actual like B-roll footage of them meeting.
Yeah, this is Danny Lynn's dad.
Yeah.
He's like the guy who greenlit this like episode of 2020, and he's so sweet. I just love him. He's like, we shared a kiss, and she got a little handsy. Yeah. And then the next day,
I was asked by Anna's team to photograph Anna at a kids camp, a charity event that I got to kind of witness Anna hanging out with the kids. It was this stripped down version of this small Texas girl that I really appreciated.
She is in no makeup, hair in a ponytail.
Yeah. It's like a
short
charity event or something.
But she looks so beautiful and just no makeup and like look what normal beautiful Vicky Lynn whatever her name was back in Littletown, Texas. And it was like you see the pictures of it and you're like, oh my god, like yes, she was a stunning bombshell when she was all done up, but when she wasn't, she was also gorgeous.
Yeah, normalize that, everybody.
I know.
Now here's who
God
lives.
damn it, you bastard. How'd you get even handsomer since this morning?
Fuck,
God.
I'm so awesome. I'm so handsome. Here's who lives with Anna Nicole Smith. Her son, David, her assistant, Kim, who was like clearly in love with her.
I mean, I never was Kim on the show because I only see Kim in pictures here. And I'm like, where is Kim today?
I think she was. I watched like a couple of clips of this just to get some context. Like when I watched Pretty Wild, when we did the fucking Kid Neals, when we did that, the Sexy Bandits.
Every time you say
God damn it! But Kim was very much, I think, in love with Anna Nicole Smith.
Yeah.
From what I saw. And Anna was, I don't know if she's pan or bi or something. She was very open. So I think Kim always sort of like.
It's funny because if Kim was the assistant, I wonder, like, because to me, the greatest reality show of all time, Kathy Griffin, My Life on the D-List. Absolutely. It won 3 Emmys. It's like, oh my God, it is so good. But in the first like couple of seasons, her assistant Jessica was like a big part of it.
Oh, okay.
So I wonder if like that's the inspiration.
Oh, maybe. But also, womp womp, big garbage belt for this guy. Her lawyer / agent / consultant, Howard K. Stern. And then her dogs, and then her boyfriend Larry.
So these are all the people who live in her house.
Yeah.
And like Larry, the photographer from Louisville, who met like 3 months ago, is now moving in with her.
And now that a couple of years go by, it's 2006. Larry goes on 2020.
Well, this is the year. That's the year Anna dies.
And says this Howard K. Stern guy has been and always will be a major problem.
He's in love with Anna, and she's never really returned that affection towards him. He created a lot of problems for us. He would fill her head with ideas, negative thoughts about me, to where she would actually sometimes be suspicious of things.
He was trying to start shit in their relationship.
Yes, he's like filling Anna, like, quote, filling her head with negative thoughts about Larry. But like Larry is also saying, look, like, I know everyone thinks that Anna like does drugs. She doesn't. I live with her. I've never, like, I think Anna is mixing pain pills with booze.
She's taking a lot of medication.
Yes.
And she's not eating.
Right.
And she's on Trim Spa, which was on the shelves for like a year before it was finally just like taken off all the shelves.
But Larry like tells this terrifying story about like he's living with her, and the night before the American Music Awards, it's like a famous horrible
really
plane
sad.
crash of a moment for her.
It's horrible.
But the night before that, he watches her have a seizure.
Yeah.
He's up with her all night. She's having a seizure because of all the medications she's on, interacting, and like this is at the point where she's so famous that doctors are trying to like get into her good graces by prescribing her whatever, and no one's looking at what's mixing with what and who's prescribing her what where.
She's also so insulated. Howard
Yes.
K. Stern is the
Yes.
guy to talk to. So she's not really talking to anyone. And when you get that famous, you have like people to
Yes.
talk for you. And if the people are not good,
Right.
like Howard K. Stern or the people who were around Whitney, like this is why we're here.
And so we see the American Music Awards appearance.
I was honored to be on our next performer's new video. And if I ever record an album, I want this guy to produce mine and make me beautiful duets.
There's just definitely something wrong.
Yeah,
like,
it's
it
not.
looks like she's been mixing pills and booze again. She's
And not eating.
She looks incredible, but she's like slurring her words. People are laughing at her. It's so awful because we know what's going to happen.
Right. And then, you know, all the late night guys like Kimmel and Leno, they're all making fun of her.
Can we get one woman presenting person
I know.
a fucking late night show for the love of God?
I'm trying.
Remember like Samantha Bee?
Yeah, I do
We
remember
need
Samantha
we
Bee.
need you to go. You know what, Arsenio, you're fired. Jillian's back in the top slot.
All right. Well, I'll be calling Arsenio for notes and help.
This is wild. What happens next?
So her legal battles are still happening over her husband's estate.
It goes to the United States Supreme Court.
And Ruth Bader Ginsburg is here. And they do this thing where they try to make a connection that it's like so weird that a beautiful bombshell would cross paths with, quote, smart people.
Yes.
Shut up.
I mean, that is such bullshit. That said, like Anna Nicole Smith at the Supreme Court, like what?
Like, hey, Ruth.
Because, I mean, anyone who pays any attention knows the Supreme Court is very, very, very selective in the cases they take.
Yes.
What was it? They will only take cases if it's going to change precedent or set precedent or whatever.
Right.
Or take away, you know, bodily autonomy from women
Oh,
or
yeah, that
rights
too.
from the gays.
Great.
But like, what was it about this case that was going to do one of those
Maybe
things?
it was like a power of attorney thing. Maybe it was about like
my
the
big question
will.
from the beginning, like, well, why can't you go into zero?
Like maybe.
Yeah.
But because like Ruth is just like, all right, girl, like you can
Our friend
pursue
Ruth.
this. You can pursue this in the lower courts.
Yeah.
Like, you know, more
They give
power
her the
to
green
ya.
light. They're like, yeah, go for it.
She was fighting this for 11 years. Do you know what kind of a toll that takes on you in every way?
I can't imagine.
I can't imagine.
Because you don't know if at the end of the day, like, are you going into debt to fight
Yeah.
this fight and you may never get the money?
Yeah.
We're back in LA with like present day with Larry and Danny Lynn, her daughter. And he's like showing Danny Lynn the house where they all live together. Larry is telling us.
We both really wanted kids, and she always said that she wanted a little girl. And I remember we were laying in the bed, and she took my hand and she put it over on her stomach. She had this big glowing smile on. She brings out the pregnancy test, and she shows me that she's pregnant. And I was being a little bit vocal about medication she was taking and making sure that everything was done right.
Larry is instantly concerned because he's like, okay, but like, my love, you're taking a lot of medication.
Right.
And then also her inner circle is telling her, like, forget this guy. He's probably not the dad. He's just after your money. He's nobody. Next thing Larry knows, Anna is on a fucking flight to the Bahamas, just abandons Larry.
Yeah, she went from being super happy to hating him and saying he's not actually the father.
Exactly.
So they go to the Bahamas. Howard K. Stern is filling her head with all of these ideas. And now she's like, for the last 3 months of her pregnancy, is in the Bahamas with people who are not her boyfriend and these people who are just like, don't have good intentions for her.
Yeah, and it's like, it's really sad, but she's also like making a community down there. Like she meets the locals. She meets this one guy who's like a local painter and famous musician.
Right.
And his wife, and they kind of like adopt her and they take her out on the ocean and she falls in love with the water.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden she wants to buy a boat.
And she's like, I want to be free. But just to like really, in case you don't know how shitty Howard K. Stern is.
Yeah.
And we're saying, like, I love that he was just like, I'm not that Howard Stern. I'm the other one. September 7th, 2006, she gives birth to Danny Lynn.
Yeah.
Howard K. Stern films the entire thing and sells the tape to Entertainment Tonight for an undisclosed amount. This is who we're dealing with here. You know what I mean?
Because, like, Anna, from back in the beginning of the episode, we were saying, like, all she ever wanted was a little girl. And now, like, this could have been the beginning of a whole brand new chapter for her.
The tragedies just keep coming
I
because
know.
Daniel...
I mean, it really, from here to the end, gets so fucking bonkers.
It's so bad. So Daniel is now 20 years old.
Yes.
And he goes to see her mother in the hospital and his new sister, you know?
Yeah, and he's like sleeping over in the hospital room. And like, so on the night of September 9th, he's sitting in a chair across from his mother. Howard K. Stern's in another bed in the room. And they say at 6:20 in the morning, a nurse passes by and sees Daniel like attending to his mother.
Yeah.
And then at 9:30 a.m., Anna Nicole wakes up and Daniel, her 20-year-old son, is like sleeping by her side.
She tries to wake him up, but he doesn't respond. She tries again, but his skin is cold. She realizes he's not breathing. So now she's terrified. She calls out to the medical staff, and they rush in, but it's too late. Daniel's already dead.
He's fucking dead.
Dead. 20 years old.
He just came down to like meet his baby sister and like see his mom.
Now, meanwhile, Howard K. Stern sells the photos and videos, last photos of Anna Nicole and her son.
Yeah.
Instead of dealing with Anna Nicole, who just had a baby and who lost her son within the same 48 hours.
He sells these pictures for $400,000. And Daniel's death is immediately ruled suspicious, like obviously.
Right.
And like everyone's just saying, like, how do you die in a hospital when you were fine just hours ago?
So he died of a lethal combination of Lexapro, which is a prescription, Zoloft, he was taking for the flight, and methadone. And no one knows where he got methadone, but everyone also is very quick to say Anna Nicole Smith was using methadone for years.
Yeah, for pain management. It was prescribed to her. She was not getting it illegally.
So I don't know if he was stealing it or if she was giving it to him, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like, this is just another, like, no one was paying attention or caring or watching.
What is so crazy about this is that these are people with money, or if not money, at least influence. So people are giving them things that they are asking for, and no one is saying, like, what else are you taking? This is how this interacts with that.
Of course.
Like, that's how he died.
And you're not eating.
Exactly.
Like, it's so scary. So then also, they kind of blow right by this, but Howard K. Stern is on the birth certificate.
So there's like this big, I remember this story very well. There's like a big mystery as to like who the dad of the baby is.
Right.
Howard K. Stern, the baby's born on the birth certificate in the Bahamas. It says Howard K. Stern's name. Legally in the Bahamas, he is the dad. But Larry's like, remember when I was the only person she was having sex with when she got pregnant?
But Howard K. Stern has to go on Larry King
to
say, guess what? I'm the father. We've been in a relationship for a long time. We love each other. Larry's like the other Larry is a liar. All this crazy.
To which I was like, Larry King, hey girl, been a minute. Remember when Larry King was on like every single episode?
Yes, I do.
He's just always,
it's been a while.
Always interviewing a Peterson. You know what I mean?
He's always doing that pose on the desk.
But like Larry the dad.
I actually had to file a paternity suit. I was like, this is the last thing that I want to do. She's just lost her son.
Which he says is the last thing he wanted to do because she just had the baby. She's living in the Bahamas.
Yeah. And meanwhile, her, quote, friend, Dr. Christine, flies down to help Anna Nicole. She's the person that they have prescribing her all of these drugs.
Yeah.
She should know better. She should have her license revoked.
I mean, again, it's like she's trying, this Dr. Christine person is trying to get into Anna's life just to be around a famous person.
But also, like, she might be someone that Howard K. Stern knows and doesn't ask a lot of questions.
Yes.
And now she's giving Anna Nicole chloral hydrate,
right,
which is a medicine that you take before medical procedures. It's a hypnotic.
And like the thing is, if Howard K. Stern is orchestrating this whole thing and he needs Anna Nicole because she's got the money and she's got the influence.
Yeah.
And he's got this friend who's a doctor who can give her the drugs that's going to keep her quiet. There's nobody in her inner circle who's looking out for her.
And it gives him the influence.
It could have been Larry, but Larry's been excommunicated because Howard K. Stern doesn't want Larry around.
Because Howard K. Stern has been feeding her these drugs.
Yes.
And preying on her insecurity, like anyone would be, and saying all of this. He got in her head. He manipulated her.
Yes.
He got into her head so much that the only person she was having sex with, who could be the father, Howard K. Stern, was still on the birth certificate.
Exactly.
So in that moment, she was vulnerable enough. Like, what else could he sign?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the goal here.
When you have a baby, I've never delivered a child.
Same.
But I'm assuming, like, the doctors and the nurses aren't like, show me how do you prove that you're the dad? Like, if you're the guy in the room?
I don't know how they do any of that.
Yeah.
That's a very good question.
I've never thought about that until this moment.
But like, I would think that Anna Nicole also has a say in this.
Yes.
So if she wanted to say, that's not true. But
Right.
like he had manipulated her and she also just gave birth. Can we let her have a nap for 20 minutes?
I know.
Like, my God.
So we jump to February 5th, 2007, and Anna and her entourage are leaving the Bahamas to go to Florida to buy a boat.
Yeah, so it's Howard K. Stern, it's the bodyguard, the shady doctor, and Anna Nicole leaves her baby with the nanny. Danny Lynn is with the nanny.
Yes.
Before she leaves the Bahamas, Anna gets a shot of HGH and B12 on her left side. She's been doing this for a while to maintain her weight.
On the plane, her left side starts to hurt. By the time she gets to the hotel, she's starting to feel really sick.
By the time they get to the hotel in Florida, she's got a fever of 105.
Yeah, that's not good.
I mean, they're saying like a fever of 105 in an adult kills you.
Yeah. And like something is wrong. Her body is revolting. Something's wrong.
They say her entourage is telling her to go to the hospital, but she's saying she doesn't want to go because she doesn't want it to become like a scandal.
Right.
That Anna Nicole Smith is now in the hospital.
Because it would.
Right.
You know, like, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying, like, she couldn't do anything right.
It's like when you've got a brand new baby, that's all I can think about is the baby. Like, live for the baby, Anna Nicole.
And also, like, who said that her entourage was begging her to go?
Right. Somebody says.
I feel like Dr. Christina was like, I can handle this. Like, let's like sign away all these fucking papers.
Honestly, like I'm her traveling doctor.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Like, come on.
Because they say over the next few days, she just keeps getting sicker and sicker. She's not sleeping or eating. And then they say her entourage starts to notice like a gross smell coming off of her body.
It's the injection site that's been infected.
But like the quote traveling doctor should know what that is.
I know. And she does.
You know?
She's just not doing anything about it.
That is insane.
That is my opinion, that she knew exactly what was happening and they were just letting this happen to her. That's what I think about it. And in the middle of this, Anna Nicole Smith is dying.
Yeah.
There's a newborn baby. Her son just died.
Yes.
Howard K. Stern goes to pick up the boat because he has to keep that precious boat appointment.
He's like, you know what? She's okay. I'm going to leave her in the hotel room and go get the boat.
And that is when he's out at the boat appointment.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And Anna Nicole Smith is discovered dead while like he's out of the hotel room.
Yeah.
So Bridget tells Taz to call 911.
What happens next is unbelievable. Taz doesn't call 911. She calls Mo. Mo doesn't call 911. He calls Howard. And Howard doesn't call 911. 38 minutes go by before anyone calls 911.
Howard Stern doesn't call 911 until 38 minutes go by, and then the bodyguard calls.
Yeah.
And I just wonder if they're all in like such a fucked up, like you don't do anything that's going to call any attention to Anna Nicole Smith in any way whatsoever.
I'm sure that was part of it.
Yeah.
But I really don't think the majority of this was to protect her. I think it was to protect themselves.
It's absolutely. They
was to
just
protect
let
themselves.
Anna Nicole Smith die.
They let her die.
She's been suffering and she's
For
been,
years they let her die.
Yes, exactly.
For years.
And for this, like the last several days, like she's been stinking because her body is infected and nobody did anything.
Like you don't care about her. That's not how you treat somebody you care about.
So the paramedics arrive. They call the doctor friend who confirms Anna Nicole was on 10 different medications.
10. And half of them weren't written in her name, by the way.
Exactly. The ambulance comes. They get to the hospital. There's a full media blitz. She's pronounced dead at the hospital at 2:49 p.m. She was 39 years old.
Yeah.
It feels like she should have been 90.
I know. Yeah. And like the autopsy comes back. There were 9-10 drugs in her system. She had a stomach bug.
Yeah.
She had an abscess from the B12 shots. And she had Hashimoto's disease, which is an autoimmune disorder that affects your thyroid. So the symptoms she was feeling, like, you know, fatigue or weight gain or depression, like everything she was battling, there was like a reason for so much of it. So if she was self-medicating.
For years there was. If she just had gone to a real doctor who could have diagnosed her.
Like there could have been a real plan for all of this. And there wasn't. And so, but now there's a legal battle over where she's going to be buried.
Like, it
never ends.
It just never ends.
Just let her rest.
There's basically a fight about Anna Nicole and where to bury her. Her mother, Virgie, wants her buried in Texas, and Howard K. Stern wants her buried in the Bahamas.
Howard K. Stern wants her to be buried in the Bahamas, and I was wondering about this. Does he want the body buried in the Bahamas because we can't just go and exhume it and test it if we want to?
Probably.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they did already do the autopsy.
Well, but they also, like, her son was buried in the Bahamas, and I'm like, had the son ever been to the Bahamas before that moment?
Yeah, a lot of decisions were being made when she just wasn't here. She wasn't coherent.
Now we deal with the paternity.
Yeah, like, can we just test the fucking DNA? DNA.
Honest to God. I mean, there's like
in every case, please.
Exactly. But I'm like the Mamma Mia of it all. There's 4 potential men to be the dad. One of them I've never heard of. One of them is a fucking prince who used to be married to Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah, some random ex-boyfriend Mark he claims he was like, I gave her my sperm frozen that time. Maybe I'm it.
Yeah.
Howard K. Stern, Larry Burkhead, and Zsa Zsa Gabor's husband.
So of course it ends up being Larry is the dad.
Like obviously.
Obviously.
By 2009, Howard K. Stern and the Shady Doctor were convicted.
Yeah.
2 counts of conspiracy to obtain drugs under false names. But then they were overturned because they had the whole I want to protect her privacy thing.
They were saying they were getting it under false names so people wouldn't know it was Anna
She
Nicole
was still
Smith.
on way too many fucking drugs.
100%.
I don't care.
Yeah, and like in 2019, like she loses the court case. She gets no money.
Yeah, she was awarded nothing from the courts. Nothing.
Can we end on this? We're back in 2020 in LA with Larry going. There's like a storage unit in LA that has all of Anna Nicole's stuff, her
like
scrapbooks
memorabilia
and her clothes and all of her like wacky stuff. And he like takes it all out. And I was sobbing during this part. He lays it all out to show Danny Lynn. And like Danny Lynn's only 13. She doesn't get it yet. Like her mother was an icon.
Mm-hmm.
Her mother is an icon.
Yeah.
And someday like that's her legacy. I wish I had some stuff of Daisy's mom's that I could give to Daisy.
Yeah.
Because Daisy is so curious about her. And like Danny Lynn is like, I mean, it's no substitute for her actual mother, but she's going to get all of her mom's stuff. She's going to smell the clothes that her mom wore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like just sitting there. I was blubbering. I was like hoping that nobody would come into the office because I was bawling.
You're 5 a.m. by yourself. She's so outrageous.
Oh, girl, what's it called?
It's called Anna Nicole Tragic Beauty. It's on 2020.
Oh, this was a really good one.
Yeah.
Anna Nicole was a fucking badass.
Yeah, she was a legend.
Fam, come see us on our tour. We got Seattle, LA, New York, and then Obsessed Fest, October 20th to the 22nd. Come see us. We're doing the Jinx. Actually, a lot of these shows are very close to selling out.
Yeah, come hang out with us. It's a party.
The New York show, we're doing it Broadway style. We're bringing our Broadway dancers back. We're making it like a whole big fucking show. Come and see it. I'm in London Friday, August 4th for the book party. There's like 20 tickets left to that. It's at a little club in Soho. Go to patrickfails.com to get your tickets. What are we doing next, girl?
Oh, boy. Money Shot, the Pornhub story. Highly requested.
One right after another.
You people like the sex docs.
You all like the sex docs. It's true.
This is just like the inner workings and the dirty deals of the sex worker industry online and like how we have to do better about that and like scams and all this crazy shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. They should be paid more.
All right, well, stay tuned for that, fam, and then our funny and hilarious outtakes, and we love you.
We love you.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
Every element of the internet has been influenced and led by pornography.
In 2008, Pornhub was omnipresent.
It's pretty much a household name. Like, I know what Kellogg's brand is. People assume I'm doing mainstream porn. In reality, I'm just in my room by myself making little videos. Most trafficked website in the world, conservatively.
This is a company that does exactly what Facebook does. It's a data harvesting operation.
Some people don't like that these things are not in the shadows.
Knowingly profiting from sex trafficking is what we believe they're liable for.
The more I explored, the more aghast I became. I found too many cases of kids whose worst moments were preserved in amber.
I was pretty reliant on what management was willing to say about it. All we were told was none of it's true.
This industry is going to get cleaned up.
Did you see the whole TikTok where Natalie was trying to teach me how to say?
She had to explain it.
Mariska Hargitay. Natalie had to educate me because I thought it was like Mariska. I thought it was Mariska Haggerty.
This is why we don't read the YouTube comments or whatever the fuck. That person was wrong, whoever said that. It's Mariska.
When I was touring last summer with Lance and Tim and Maggie, we did a show in Dallas, and then like the next night we had a show in Houston, and Dallas and Houston hate each other, and I didn't know that.
Oh, no.
So I started being like, "Oh, did you hear what Dallas said about Houston? Did you hear what Houston?" I was like talking shit just for funsies. Houston and Dallas don't get mad at me.
Goodness,
I know.
stirring the shit.
I know.
Mexia.
Exactly.
To the layperson. Right. But it's Mahea.
I would be putting the hey. I'd be putting the hey in Mahea.
If there's not a gay bar,
I know.
That's spelled phonetically, Mahea. What are we doing, Texas?
We did it. Goodbye.
What the fuck are we doing?